change. My name is Yuri Ramos. Today I want to focus on homelessness. Throughout the United States, we have foster youth that transition out of the foster care system, which it's TAY, transition age youth, which age out of the foster care system at the age of 21. And the United States has recently, well, in the state of California, there is a proposed bill called the bill's SB 739 that's supposed to provide financial security for these transition age youth. So this is to provide financial security on a monthly basis with the income of $1,000 a month, and this is supposed to help transition age youth have income after they age out of the foster care system. With that being said, the average monthly rate in LA County is about $1,400 when you're thinking about transition age youth that have had multiple placements in the foster care system that don't know how to properly advocate for themselves. These are mentally, they're still kids, right? Even though by law they're adults. So we talk about $1,000 a month. SB 739 is supposed to provide financial security for these youth, but is that enough to prevent these youth from becoming homeless, right? The one thing that I do want to stress out is that this bill is a great start to helping a foster youth become financially secure once they age out, but this is not enough. If you think about it, $1,000 a month for a child. When you were 15, think about what you would do with $1,000 a month, right? You're gonna go on shopping sprees, buy all the things that you wish you had when you were younger. So we're not preparing our kids for a smooth transition. I think we're setting them up for failure, and that is what the United States government is very well known for, right? Keeping us in poverty, setting us up for failure. So anyway, in order for this bill to work, in order for our foster youth to be financially prepared, educationally prepared, having the resources and skills that they need to transition out, we need to provide them with more than $1,000 a month. So what can we do? We can advocate to amend that bill to include preventative measures. What does that mean? It means that we need to provide our kids with more than $1,000 a month. We need to provide them with independent life skills, right? When you think about independent life skills, you probably think of, oh, once I become independent, what are the skills I need? But in reality, these services are provided to the mentally disabled population, right, through the regional center or whatever. So we need to provide them with independent life skills. This is to help them access generic resources, whether it be TANF, Medi-Cal, public housing, SSI, whatever the case is, right? And then we also need to prepare them educationally. What can we do? Most of these kids are not able to graduate from high school. Most of them drop out. The first thing that you think of when you're 21 years old, you don't have family members to provide support to you. What are you going to think? You're going to think, I'd rather go to work than to go to school, because work brings in that extra cash. It brings in the money that I need. But if we know the United States is based on credentialism, which is super overrated. And I think a lot of our youth, even older populations, focus on education as a source of financial stability. But the United States is all money. You pay for that degree, right? I'm going to a master's program. I could go to a master's program at USC and pay for my degree. It doesn't mean that I learned something. I'm paying for that. And the United States wants us to pay for that because why? It keeps us in debt. It keeps us below the poverty line. It's oppressing minority groups, right? So anyway, talking about education with foster youth, we need to provide them with independent life skills, educational services where before they age out, you have somebody, and it's typically the social worker, but let me tell you, social workers in LA County are super overworked. They have so many cases that they're able to see each child. Realistically, they're supposed to see each child one time a month. Being an FFA worker, I know that they see each child at most one time a month for about 5 to 10 minutes. That's not enough to build rapport. That's not enough to get to know your child, right? So educational services need to be provided for these kids to learn how to apply for financial aid, to learn how to apply for continuation school, to learn how to access FAFSA, right, financial aid to pay for educational services. I think our youth also need to have employment development services, right, which will teach them interview skills, how to build a resume, and how to access clothing for interview attire. Actually, a lot of us, when we started working, we didn't think of, let me invest money on a suit, or on, for us women, on clothing that would help me obtain a job, right? Well, besides the educational and employment and independent living skills services, we also need to prepare our kids on how to manage their money, because $1,000 a month to a kid is like, oh my God, I'm gonna go buy this, go buy that, invest it in things that are not worth, losing $1,000 a month. So we need to prepare. LA County has about 20,000 kids in foster care. And many of those kids are going to experience homelessness once they age out of the foster care system. And you think, how can we prepare these kids to be self-sufficient adults? $1,000 is not enough, right? We already established that the average monthly rate in LA County is about $1,400. Can you survive off of $1,000 a month? When you think about rent, you think about food, you think about other things, other expenses. It's not enough. So we need to really think about, is this bill enough for us to prevent homelessness? And I encourage you guys to really speak up, advocate for our kids, because you never know. It might be somebody that you know.